Hello, hello, and welcome. I am so excited to see you all today. So come on in because we have such an exciting topic today. And today we're going to be talking about practical HR solutions for employee retention. Now, this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart because it brings together all of the work that we do here at Compass Education Strategies and at Compass College Advisory as well. And so, one of the things I'll share with you at the outset, from the title, it says from burnout to balance. And with that being said, as I'm sharing with you today around these practical HR solutions for employee retention, it's about the mental health and well being of your employees. And it's not just any one employee in particular, but we're going to talk about what you can do to support your employees across the generations. And so today there are multiple generations in the workplace, oftentimes four in the workplace. And even in my own small business, we have three generations in our workplace. And so it's a really important topic because we know that when companies, any organization of any size loses an employee, that is dollars. That is dollars, and sometimes millions of dollars that are lost when employees leave. And so thank you, Rochelle, for that. And so, yes, it is a really important topic indeed. And so I'm excited to share this with you. Now, one of the things I'll start out at the outset in sharing is, just my own story with this. And so even prior to owning my own business and doing the work that I do today, I worked in corporate, in banking and finance for a number of years after finishing my MBA. And the work was a lot, let me tell you. It was a lot indeed. And when I was single with no children, I could keep up with it in terms of the hours. And oftentimes it would be 80 to 100 hours a week. And I started out doing more investment banking. And so, the hours were a lot, just as they are today still. But fast forward, when I became a mom, oh my goodness, you talk about feeling overwhelmed. And just that feeling on Sunday night when I knew I had to wake up in the morning and start that grind all over again, it was a lot to deal with. And so, even with having a promising career in banking and finance, it was something that I did enjoy as well. I I left. I left and didn't want to go back to that. And still today, that's what keeps me as an entrepreneur because I do remember those days and remember how I just didn't have the flexibility nor even the sense of support from my organization, from my manager or others, and decided to leave altogether. And the thing about it is, even though that was like 30 years ago, this is still happening today. It's still happening today. And so, in some ways, maybe we just don't remember or we're just not learning this lesson, but it's still happening today. And so, I'm just excited to share with you some of what we've been learning and talking with our HR partners about, our clients that we're working with and bringing programming to them. It's, some of these very tips that I'm sharing with you that I hope will support your success in your work and making sure that you're retaining your best employees because they have so much to bring to the mission and the profits for your organization. And so I'll just say briefly, for those of you who are meeting me for the first time, I'm Dr. Pamela Ellis. I'm founder of Compass Education Strategies and Compass College Advisory. And our work is largely around working with working parents in the workplace. We bring solutions to support them with engagement as well as retention. And it's just really exciting work because it's something, as I mentioned at the outset, that's so near and dear to my heart. And in our work, we do work around solutions for multi-generational workplaces. And that is true for a number of organizations that they have multiple generations in their workplace. And so I've been doing this work for a long time. And so I'm just excited to share it with you. Now, I'm going to talk about this as far as mental health and well-being. That will be kind of the common thread as I talk about these solutions across the generations. Now, there are, I would say, usually around 4 generations that are still in the workplace. And the one that I'll start with is boomers. And that would be the generation that's closest to retirement. And for boomers, in supporting them with retention and providing the support that's going to avoid any burnout and still meeting the priorities that they have, there are 2 solutions that I want to bring to you. One of them you may be already familiar with, of course, is health benefits and the importance of health benefits for our boomers in the workplace. The second one is ergonomic support. And I know this one is one that I was, particularly concerned about in the workplace and still today, even though I'm not in the boomer generation. And, it's simple things like even the chairs and just having chairs that are more comfortable and ergonomically correct. Also, different devices that can support, an armrest or device for the wrist as they are using the keyboard. That would be ergonomic support. And these are simple things that don't really require a whole lot of big policy changes or anything like that if you're in a large organization. But, some things that can support them with really feeling valued in their roles. And you can, of course, meet your own priorities as an organization of retaining those employees who are boomers. And so I have this also, I'll just say, for those of you who are interested, I do have this in a nice little diagram as a one-pager and would love to share that with you. So all you have to do is message me the word balance, and I'll be happy to get that over to you. The next one I want to talk about is Gen Xers. Gen Xers, that's my generation. So for Gen Xers, what is it that can support them in terms of being retained and avoiding burnout for them? Well, one of them is wellness programs. And we often hear a variety of wellness programs that are out there. One that I was intimately involved with for a number of years was around mindfulness and actually getting my certification in mindfulness instruction. And so looking at, different wellness programs that can be introduced to the workplace to support Gen Xers and with avoiding burnout and also retention as well. And then another one, which also touches my organization, is family support benefits. And there are a number of benefits that, can support those, particularly those working parents in the workplace with employee retention. keeping them on and still showing them how they're valued in that organization. And so family support benefits would be a second one. And again, I talked about this a little bit in one of the lives that I did a couple of weeks ago around supporting working parents in the workplace. And so these family support benefits can play a big role in terms of that. The next one that I'll cover, and I'm just kind of going down the line here. And like I said, I'm happy to share this with you in a one pager. And all you have to do is message me the word balance, and I'll be happy to send this over to you. But the next one would be for millennials. And for millennials, it's going to be work-life balance support. And work-life balance is one that, oftentimes, there's the joke around, just not being able to have that, or that it's, not 50-50 or what have you. But work-life balance is something that's, really important, whether you see it as only, 80-20 or however you may see it. And it's something that I think is even more important in our days now, where we're working more remotely or hybrid, because it's so easy when you're working from home to just never turn it off, never turn it off. And I had learned this earlier on because I've actually been working remotely for close to 30 years. It's been a long time that I've been working remotely. And even starting out with that, it was that, separation of, work and life. And when we're working from home, you can just work around the clock, work on weekends. And so, work balance can be about, having certain calendars where you do block out that time for yourself. And so really thinking about work-life balance solutions in your workplace for those who are millennials. And then the second one is therapy access. And I, am so happy that we are talking about having access to therapy, and that is no longer a stigma that's attached to that when we talk about it. And, this is another thing that certainly has shifted in the last 5 years, that we embrace that more. But those are, some practical solutions for keeping those employees who are millennials. The fourth one that I'll talk about, and this is a big one because I know that a lot of companies oftentimes are struggling with the high turnover among Gen Zers. And I can tell you, in my organization, as I mentioned, we have 3 generations in my business, and most of my employees are Gen Z. And so it's an ongoing discussion, as well as consideration from my leadership around, what we're doing to support and make sure that we are retaining our employees who are Gen Z as well. And so with that, a couple of things that I want to share with you as some practical solutions for Gen Zers. One is, having mental health days. Like, how difficult is that? So it's just saying, hey, we're going to take a day off. And that's one of the things that, oftentimes I used to see at high schools that were happening for our Gen Zers, where they would just have, an impromptu day off. And that's a way that they can feel like they can just have time away, time to do whatever they want to do, and have some time to themselves to recharge, if you will. Another one is providing some mental health apps. One of them that I use daily is the Calm app. And another one is Headspace as well. And so access to those types of apps can certainly support them with mental health and well-being in the workplace. And then a third one I want to add, I know I had two for the other generations, but another one that we do in our organization, and I often talk with my clients about it as well, is more frequent check-ins. And I don't know if you remember, maybe you don't remember this in terms of your organization where you are now, but I know when I worked in corporate, one of the things I dreaded the most was the annual review. And it's just like you would wait all that time to have a review. And it's just like, you see me every day. I mean, if I'm doing something, just, let me know. But waiting to the end of the year, it's like dreadful. It really is. And so I'm glad that this is shifting. And I would say, particularly for Gen Zers, doing it more frequently. And in the case in our firm, that we have even had in some periods, we'll have daily check-ins. And that's just a way to, make sure that we are, just touching base and having them feel supported and making it part of just how we are as a culture. And I think it's one of those things that, breeds authenticity and transparency. And that's certainly appreciated by Gen Zers in a way that I haven't seen across other generations. And so this generation is really seeking that. And so those regular check-ins, and perhaps they're, twice a week or maybe weekly, depending on their role, gives them that sense of transparency and authenticity in their workplace. And that is, sometimes that can feel like a huge cultural shift in your organization, but even supporting your managers with doing that and providing the training for your managers to institute that kind of frequency with their employees who are Gen Z can go a long way in terms of retention. So I want to thank you guys so much. Rochelle, thank you. Thank you. And so I will definitely send that over to you. As I mentioned, it's a one-pager that looks at different ways to retain your employees across the generations. And so that's something that's near and dear to my heart. And I look forward to continuing to have the conversation with you about what that looks like in terms of how we can support you in your organization. So thank you again. I look forward to seeing you next time.